Today is the final video for the Compaq LTE 5000 series computer. This is actually the 5000 model with the 640 by 480 screen. Makes it perfect for DOS computing. It does have a Sound Blaster compatible card in it. Pretty solid machine overall. On the back you got your IR port, you got your PS2 connections for keyboard, mouse, audio inputs and outputs, and then you have your power. And underneath here, port replicator / dock, VGA, parallel, serial on the side. This is a piece I replaced from the 5280 I got. It's the PCMCIA slot with cover, which is still not perfect, but these computers are old. Got your removable battery here. You got your hard drive caddy in here, which has been replaced with the CF card. And then you got your floppy disk, which also, that's been replaced. So basically everything on this front panel has been replaced, except for this piece. I'm not sure if you can see it in camera, but it is a little bit yellower than the rest of it. And I've tried retrobrighting it multiple times. I may give it one more shot when we get some warmer weather down here in Florida. Right now it's kind of a cool spell. All intents and purposes, this is done. Then you got a microphone port here, and then your fan there, along with your release latches for the front. So that's the overview of the outside of it. So let's go ahead and plug this in and see what we got. If I can find the power, which I did. The only other problem I'm having is with the power cord on this. I do have an aftermarket one for the 5280. I rather use the OEM one. It might have a loose connection in it or somewhere. Sometimes it just doesn't make contact. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the inside. You have your two speakers up here, your 640 by 480 TFT screen, which is very important because you don't want dual scan, or I believe sometimes they're single scan, but basically a dual scan or passive matrix, because what ends up happening is any type of game that has any type of movement, you're going to get the blur on the screen. It's going to give that ghosting effect, which nobody likes for gaming. Down here on the keyboard, this keyboard, compared to the Toshiba and ThinkPads I have, IBM ThinkPads, it's god awful. I don't know what they were thinking when they made this keyboard, but some people may like it. I personally think it's terrible to type on. It's terrible to use. Let's go ahead and power this on. It does have a nice LCD display here. Everything does work in it. This piece was replaced. There was a small crack on the other one, which I did put that in the 5280. In the 5280, as I may have I shown it? Oh, and I also upgraded the RAM. It was 16, now it's at 24 megs. It has the slide-in slot on the back. I would like to get it up to 40, but for all intensive purposes, most gaming I'm doing on this laptop, I mean, 24 is more than enough. This computer doesn't boot as quick as I'd like it to, but it's quick enough. And then you got your directory listing here, and that's all the stuff I have on there. I have a few emulators, which I'll go into some of the older DOS emulators in another video, as I've mentioned. I don't know when, it's coming up soon, but we will go through a few of those. And of course, it does have Windows on this laptop. The reason I do Windows 95, and I just do the base install, the very first one, I believe the first release edition, because it's small, it's compact, and it gives me the ability to do a few other things I like to do, mainly via serial connection, where I can actually use the direct cable connection and set up kind of a mini network between two different laptops. And again, that could be for another video that I plan in the near future to play old BBS style games. Some of those old games are just kind of neat. And as you can see, this is just a totally stripped down Windows version. I mean, I didn't even put any sound options on it, nothing. I don't really, these are more for DOS gaming, so why bother having all that on the computer? And as we reboot it back down into DOS mode, I should say down, I should say up, because really DOS was more capable than most people think it was. Ran a lot more things. Point of sale systems, a lot of commercial and industrial software ran on DOS. It's just the way it was for a while. I don't think it was until really 95 second edition or third edition that they really started switching over to it. And there's the other little issue, which this does need attention at some point. There's something in here that causes it looks like part of the coloring to go out, but if I just gently kind of squeeze right here, it comes right back. Sometimes if I tap on it, it'll go out, but that's all right. I'm not going to fool with the display anytime soon. I'm kind of nervous about touching these old displays. And this does have the green dot scenario, which as of right now filming this, all the green dots are totally gone. The screen is crystal clear other than that little discolor thing that just happened. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Any opinions, always welcome in the comment section. Let's go into some games real quick. And we're not going to make this a long video. I'm not going to sit here and play games and deal with this and that. So let's just check out a game and let's just look at Airstrike just for the coloring. And we're just going to do the one game just to, you know, give some type of example of how this looks and sounds. I believe Airstrike has pretty good sound quality. Well, we'll see. I think it's USA 1. I just put this on here. Game I found. I was like, yeah, I'll check it out. It looks interesting. Just a typical flight. Looks like some kind of flight shoot 'em up game. Look kind of neat, different than some of the other ones I've seen. Got this cool little interface, entry code. You just put in whatever. It seems to, somebody seems to have fixed it so you don't have to go to a code book. And I did get this off an archive site, so if you're wondering where I found it, and you can just do a search anywhere. And there's the game. I'm not going to play it, but you can see the colors on the screen look absolutely great. The screen could be a little bit brighter, but hey, for an older laptop, with considering the technology and the time, I mean, this is pretty good. I mean, especially for DOS gaming. You could have a big honking tower or a desktop computer, but I just don't have the space. That's why I chose to go with these laptops, and I have a different collection. We use them for different things, but mainly this one was more for nostalgia purposes. I did own one of these. I actually had a 5000 I let go, I think, on eBay for like $25 years and years ago. It was missing the hard drive, but it was just nice having one of these again. I haven't had one in probably 10 years, and all the other laptops I've actually had in some shape or form in varying models, including the Toshibas and the IBM ThinkPads. So that's the review of this Compaq computer, and it is a nice solid little machine. Like I said, don't care for the keyboard. The battery does read that it works, but when I try to put it on battery power, it just goes a little wonky. So I try to avoid that at all costs. I just leave it in there in case there's a problem with the power cord. It gives me a chance to fix that issue that's going on with that. So overall, I call this complete. It's just got a few tweaks on it that I would like to do with the front door, like I said, the power pack, and then of course with the screen issue. But again, that's nothing I'm going to touch anytime soon until I can get some better opinions on how to actually go in here and see what's going on. I believe it's probably just a loose connector going on somewhere in here. So you can just almost see it in the screen where it just kind of, and if I just squeeze it a little bit, I think it's something losing contact. Maybe it's just something is slightly off. Hopefully it's not a capacitor. And I am seeing the little green dots just a little bit. Anyhow, that's the Compaq LTE 5000 laptop. This will be the final edition for quite a while, unless I do a follow-up on the screen and other parts I mentioned. But for now, we'll call this one done.